The Switch era has brought a number of classics from back in the day to the system, ranging from stuff like Super Mario RPG to the more oddball stuff like the Famicom Detective Club. Well, Nintendo's at it again, this time revisiting the DS and Wii library for Trace Memory or Another Code. Now, this new compilation features both games, and it's set to release on January 19th. But thankfully for those on the fence, a free demo is available. We checked it out and are here to let you know our thoughts on this remaster. Let's go ahead and get into it. Danny from the Famicast here. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications. Sound off in the comments down below, and we may read it out on our bi-weekly show called the Famicast. Today, though, we're taking a quick look at the Another Code Recollection demo on the Nintendo Switch. Now, before we get into things properly, I just wanted to point out that while I was definitely aware of Trace Memory and Another Code back in the day, now this is a series that I've actually never tried out. Now, while I could try to go and make comparisons to the DS and Wii games to this Switch version and stuff like that, that is definitely not the purpose of what I'm trying to do here. Here, I'm just taking a look at this remake and what it has to offer in this Switch demo. Now, the demo available on the eShop for Another Code Recollection lets players go through the prologue and first chapter of the first game. Now, depending on how fast you go, it can last anywhere between like an hour to about an hour and a half or so. Now, in Another Code, players take on the role of Ashley. In the first game and this demo, it's the eve of her 14th birthday, and she's on her way to visit her believed to be dead father. Ashley and her aunt Jessica are making the trek to a place called Blood Edward Island with a plan to meet him and learn more about why he's been away for all these years. Now, as a birthday present, Ashley actually received something from her dad. It's like this tablet game-like device called a DAS, or Dual Another System. Now, this device can be used to take and save pictures and also serves as like a hub for information about all the characters that you'll come across in the adventure too. This is pretty essential for exploration on the island and is helpful for figuring out puzzles and stuff like that too. Most of the demo will have you interacting with other characters and the environment in third person. However, a few puzzle elements are also implemented here. Now, for the most part, these are pretty interesting and require you to check your surroundings for clues and stuff like that. Generally speaking, I think these feel pretty good. However, there was definitely one in particular that stood out to me in a bad way. Now, with this one, Ashley realizes that there's like a key stashed away under a stool. Now, she needs to use this key to get through a locked gate. So in this, she has to basically grab the spool and turn it around in order to like free it. There's like a net or something like that keeping it from coming out. Now, for you, the player, and I was playing on TV with a Pro controller here. Now, with this method, this basically requires players to turn the controller around using the gyro functions of the controller until they're able to free this key. I think this is a really interesting idea, but honestly, this just felt really clunky, and sometimes it didn't even make sense on like based on how I was actually moving around the controller. There is like a reset button that you can use, but I mean, yeah, it took me a couple of minutes to do this, but yeah, I eventually freed the key, but I don't know. I just did not have fun with this. I would have preferred just to simply use the right stick to move this stool around and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, aside from this, I think my only other complaint with the game in terms of like gameplay here is the camera does feel like it can be a little bit too close to Ashley, which can make it a little bit difficult to check the environment for clues. This is not always an issue here, but sometimes the environments can kind of force the camera to zoom in rather closely, which I found a little bit annoying. Well, the overall visual aesthetic for the game, I think it actually is pretty nice. Recollection sports like an anime, manga-like visual style that it's pretty sharp and looks great. Character models also look pretty nice too. However, the most underwhelming part of the experience definitely got to be the environments. Walls, buildings, the ground, all these things are made out of like really simple blocky polygons with a very low amount of detail. Now, this isn't super noticeable from afar. However, once you get up closer for further inspection, you can clearly see the lack of detail here. Now, it's difficult to say if this is intentional. I mean, it very well may be. I mean, the main focus of Another Code is the story, which could be the reason why the visuals are kind of pared back here a little bit. It could be constraints on the budget. You know, we may actually never know the actual reasons here. I mean, at any rate, this is something that you should be aware of before forking over your money for the game. Now, even with that said, I think the audio here is actually pretty decent. Recollection features both English and Japanese audio with a pretty liberal amount of voice acting. And even for my short time with just playing the demo, I think this sounded pretty great. The game's performance is also pretty consistent, and I didn't really notice any slowdown or anything like that. I mean, of course, this is just a demo, so it's hard to say if the entire game will be the same. But yeah, I mean, aside from the underwhelming look of the environments, I walked away impressed with the audio and the general performance here. When it comes down to it, I am glad that Another Code has a chance at life on the Switch. The demo is a perfect way to determine whether or not this game is something that you think is worth throwing down your cold hard cash on. Now, although I think the story is interesting and the overall aesthetic is pretty cool, I mean, outside of the character models, the environments are very basic and they definitely lack detail. Additionally, the puzzles here are okay, but, turning around objects with the gyro functions of a controller is something that I will never get used to or like. Now, I haven't played the final version of the game at this point or anything like that, but I would venture to guess similar puzzles will also appear in other parts of the game. Overall though, I mean, this demo is fun, but it left me kind of with the feeling that this game might be a little bit flawed, and I don't think it's for me. But let's go ahead and turn things over to you guys. Did you guys try out the demo for Another Code Recollection? Did you play the original on the DS or the Wii back in the day? Are you or did you pick up this game on the Switch? Be sure to sound off in the comments down below. Tell me why I'm wrong. All that type of stuff. We'd love to hear from you. Now, as always, thank you guys so much for checking out this video. If you like what you see, please feel free to drop this one a like. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe. We've got tons of podcasts, video reviews, looks of cool games like this, and a whole lot more. Again, this is Danny from the Famicast. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.
誰かいるの？君は。